Hi guys, welcome to today's video. This is just an update on the 1 hour of plant care that I've done once this year. It went okay. I got all my plants watered and I had to throw out a few. I didn't have to. Like, some of them I could have brought back from the dead, but you know those plants when they just never, it's really not gonna happen. And so one of them was my philodendron Brazil. It had no leaves, like none. It was in a big terracotta pot. It was all roots. The problem with, like, you can definitely do like terracotta pots and the homemade really airy potting mix. And you might think that the issue is that it dries out too much, and it does dry out too much around the edges, but the middle, like, it's really uneven. The middle always stays really damp, especially if you've got like a really thick root ball. And I wouldn't do, terracotta pots are brilliant for people that overwater, which I think is for like a lot of people. And it was great for me right in the beginning when I was a bit of a helicopter parent. But knowing the way that I am, realistically, we're not going to go terracotta anymore. They are good for succulents, or that's all I would use them for, I think. But as I say, like, I'm an underwaterer, which from what I've seen online seems to be, I don't know, online plant care kind of skews things a bit, because the people that underwater clearly aren't bothered enough to go and look up stuff online or like make a post. It's the overwaterers, the people that are worried about stuff. So yeah, if you're an underwaterer, don't go terracotta. It's just, if you're using like a really thick like soil mix, fine, but it's not working for me. Got a spider on my pink princess. Is that going to show up? Oh, there we go. You see that? Beautiful spider web. I've also got a lot of growth on the other, so this is like the main plant, but there's a baby one in there. This is growing. Everybody's growing. Like, January is the month for my plants. So yeah, my philodendron Brazil is no more, but that's not really a problem. Like, I had it for years. I definitely got my money's worth from it. All, what, $3.99 I spent on it, and I can easily buy another one. It's not like a rare plant. I do like them. I'm not sure if I'd buy another one. Currently, I'm going more with fewer plants, get into my routine, and then I can add more as and when. Problem with plant, like when you first start collecting plants, is you see them and you buy them, and then you're like, I'll just look after them. Like, that's future Caroline's problem, and I am cruel to future Caroline. Like, I always leave so much stuff for her to do. Present Caroline never does anything. The other, who else did I chuck out? Quite a few. I trimmed this Monstera over here. I love it, but it dries out so quickly, and the reason is because it needs repotting, but I can't be bothered to do that, so I just trimmed it. The bottom leaves were like, it was healthy, it was just dry, so it was sacrificing, like, the leaves were either like green and healthy or brown and dead, so I just gave it a haircut, gave it a really good soak, and it was fine. The soil, I found with the really airy potting mixes, it goes hydrophobic quite quickly. So I watered my plants and I used my moisture meter, and it's quite interesting how the water was literally just passing through. It wasn't soaking in at all. And this, if you water your plants quickly, like you just chuck a bit of water on them, you might notice that they seem to be drying out really quickly, and it's because they were never really wet in the first place. That's probably quite a good thing if you're the sort of person that's going to water them really often, but if you're not, they're not getting watered enough. And so either water them more or put them in a less airy soil mix, or like pour the water over really slowly, but we can't be bothered to do that. Bottom watering's good, but I'm considering, I've always had like this over there, there's like it's actually an old litter box of water that I just keep for when my plants need watering. It's good in theory if I used it enough, but some plants I just don't notice and they end up getting too dry. So I think going forward, I'm gonna not have that, and then hopefully not having that kind of crutch will encouraged me to keep going with the plant care. I did enjoy my hour of plant care, but as suspected, I had like plants that needed, because so many of them needed watering, my hour was taken up with just watering them. and like getting off dead leaves and stuff. I didn't really check them for pests, and I noticed a load needed repotting but didn't bother doing it. So I think going forward I'm gonna have to assign like 1 week a month will be like repotting and 1 will be cleaning, and we'll just see like how it goes. So the Hoya issue was when you buy Hoya, especially cheap ones, often you just get a load of cuttings in one pot and they don't like it that much. From what I don't know if it's just my care. Hoya are one of those plants that like to dry out, but not, and they will tolerate drying out a lot, but you get a lot better growth if you don't let them dry out so much. And also, I've noticed that mine aren't in terracotta pots, but they seem to, the soil like dehydrates really unevenly. Like the middle will be soaking, or even the edge will be soaking and the middle will be dry. I don't know, it doesn't seem, it seems really uneven. And it's not the soil, because I've used the soil, my soil mix kind of stays the same, and I've not had that. It seems specific to Hoya. And see, it's doing it now. Like you can see a wet patch in the middle, and then the edge is dry, and then like the edge here is wet. So my nightmare with Hoya like they all looked fine, and then as I went to like pick up the leaves that were closest like on here, I was just like picking them off. The only one that didn't have that was the Canosa Crimson Princess, like the standard one. That thing is fine. It grows like a weed. Sometimes it'll put out loads of like long vines, and I'm like, oh, it needs more light, and then it'll just like put out a growth spurt. And then it'll put like a load of green leaves, and I'm like, oh, more light, and then it'll put out like a load of really white ones. It needs nothing from me. It's a good girl. So yeah, this Hoya, what is it? Kerrii, don't grow. They're known for growing slowly, and they grow weird. Like this is not a heart-shaped leaf. And it was clearly like, I bought it as quite a big plant, but when like I got it for a good deal, but it was just a load of cuttings, and only one of them seems to have survived, and it's hanging on by like it's, the roots are strong, the roots are fine, but it grows lopsided. It's putting out new growth, like I'm not worried about it. There's new growth coming there. But yeah, all the leaves at the bottom were just like coming off, and it had these weird blisters on them. And I was like, oh, it's weird, it's been overwatered. No, it wasn't. When I looked at the roots, I was just expecting to get in there and the roots would be like awful. The roots were fine. Like the roots were good. So I'm guessing it's just maybe like winter, or just the way it grows. There was too much like leaf here because it was all different cuttings, and they were all just like dying. And then this is like the strong vine. So like if this vine grows like it should do, there's 2 little growth points growing on it, that would be great. And then I'm going to try and encourage, this looks dead, but the roots are fine, so I'm going to leave it for a bit, and then I'm just going to sit and dissect all the dead growth off it, and hopefully under there there'll be a nice green shoot. Oh, I lost my Alocasia stingray. I didn't nurture it enough. It was just a corm, which is quite common in Alocasia, but I had it on those shelves, which it liked, and my Sabrina seems all right on there. But I have the variegated Alocasia amazonica. She lost all her leaves, which didn't surprise me, and I thought I'd lost the corm, but she's just put out new leaves, so I'm guessing it's a light issue. I don't know. I assumed light wouldn't be an issue because it's just a corm, but different plants like different things, so we shall see. I do want to try growing an Alocasia in the fish tank. I've seen like the pool noodle, because you can't have the corm in the water. I don't know how they grow. So Alocasia in the wild grow on the edges of rivers, and I'm assuming the corm is in the riverbed and the leaves grow out of the water. And I don't, there's no riverbed in the fish tank. There's sand on the bottom, but it won't grow in that. It'll just rot. So I'm thinking the the pool noodle trick, which is where you just slice up a pool noodle and then you can float the like slices on top and then put the corn in. But I don't know if I need a whole pool noodle, and they're quite expensive, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of a more, you know, there must be something in my house that I can repurpose to float on top of a fish tank. If anybody has any ideas, please leave them below. Oh, I wonder if these pots would float. They should float. Well, I've got hundreds, I can try and float them later. Because then I could just put lecker or something in it to keep it. I need to raise it out. We'll have a go. You might think, like, why did it take you an hour to water all your plants? Like, I do have a lot, but not that many. And it is because I went to water. I've got 2 succulents downstairs, and my succulents live outside in summer, and then in winter they live on my kitchen windowsill. And I watered it, and I gave it a tiny bit of water, but the soil was like completely hydrophobic. So I put like half a cup of water on like a big terracotta pot, and it all just came out of the bottom, but it waited until I turned my back because and I heard this like dripping, and I was like, and I knew what it would be because I knew what I just watered, and as I picked it up, I do put terracotta crocks on the bottom of the, like to cover the drainage hole, but it is obviously shifted, and as I went to pick it up, like a load of soil just dripped out, but it was like liquid soil, and it dripped all down the wall and onto the floor, and I was like, you know, and you're looking at it like, go back in time. But yeah, so I had to clean that up. And yeah, I could have like deducted that time, but I want to stick to this hour, because if I'd done like an hour and a half next week, I'd be like, well, I only need to do half an hour. And then, I don't know, I'm really good at making excuses to not do stuff, even though I enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing nothing more. I'm currently on Stardew Valley, which is quite the time suck. That's hilarious, isn't it? I would rather look after plants that I get nothing from, plants that live in my iPad, than actual plants. Make it make sense. So yeah, that was just a little update. Everyone seems to be like, I'm trying to shift out putting plants in the windowsill, and everyone seems to be, I say, springing to life. I can see there's loads of new buds on this begonia. Like, on camera it looks like nothing, but it's doing really well. I was also quite impressed that my Pelia has all these gorgeous like red stems, and I was like, oh, pretty, and it is pretty, but it also means that it's got too much light. But this Pelia, like, is it, I say Pelia, but I think it's Pilea, but it's the whole Calathea thing. But that's the only spot I can get it to grow. And it grows like, it's one of those plants, it either grows not at all or loads. And if I move it, it'll grow not at all. So I suppose I could just put it, my desk, no more plants on my desk. I'll end up with hundreds on my desk and then I won't do any work. It's so hard being a human being. When I say stuff like that out loud, it makes me feel like, it makes me wonder how human beings advanced this far. Clearly people like me were either killed or just died. But I've learned that if you just accept things about yourself and then kind of try and move on from them, like I know that if I put things on my desk, I won't do any work. Like if I said that to my mum will be like, what? But you just kind of have to, or I just have to kind of accept the ridiculous things about my nature and kind of accommodate them. It's like, this afternoon I'm doing meal prep, and I'm the kind of person that's like, yeah, I'll do meal prep, I'll get really healthy. And I'm like, no, because like by Saturday I want a burger. And then I'm like, well, there's no point doing meal prep. Isn't that ridiculous? Have your burger on Saturday and do meal prep. So today's Monday, I'm going to do it tonight. So like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all healthy. Well, no, but you know, theoretically. Saturday, have your burger. There is no problem with that. But my brain's like, well, if you're not going to eat healthy 100% of the time, what's the point? Love, if you only eat healthy one day a week, that's better than no days a week. One meal a week. I'm trying to overcome it, but one of the obstacles to overcome is, how are you even a human? How are you even here? Have you managed this far? How have other people managed? Are other people like this? Yeah, we are. One good thing I've discovered, if you are similarly afflicted with being a terrible human being, is that if you start your plant care in January, when you come across plants that need repotting, you can be like, oh, there's no point being repotted now because it's winter, like that might kill it. Now, this is not true. It might be, it might not be. So some plants really care about winter, some plants don't. But we do live, like I live in a house. It's not the warmest house in the world, but it's a house, and it's not like these plants are outside dying. So this is a very artificial environment, and you could easily, you know, if you repotted your plant on a warm day and kept it in a warm place, it would be fine. It would be as stressful as being repotted in summer. However, you can easily say to yourself, there's no point me doing that. And then you can just leave it as a problem for your future self. Maybe even like make yourself a little note so you can feel all like proactive about it without actually having to do very much other than find a pen. I have all my pens live there. They have to live somewhere where I'll know where they are. Yeah, I'm just like, you know, going along with my little jug, doing my watering. I use warm water, like not like hot water, but like warm water, because I once read that plants like being watered with cool water in summer, and I'm like, I get how that would be refreshing. Imagining that you were a plant in summer, cool water would be lovely, but room temperature water would also be okay because that's quite cold. However, in winter, being watered with warm water would be delightful. So that's why I did it. Not like, we're going to call it, it was probably like tepid. It just didn't have that chill. That makes me feel better for like neglecting them for the past year. Anyway, so this plant, I can't remember what it is. Some sort of epipremnum, I believe. Oh my God. I don't know if anybody remembers, Katie Ellen did a video like a year, like maybe 18 months ago about, and it was a plant haul, and she got a variegated epipremnum pinnatum, and it was really expensive. They're so cheap now. It wasn't like ridiculously expensive. It wasn't like a super rare plant, but it was definitely in the like, I have no idea how much it was. It was definitely a plant where I was like, that's too expensive for me. But yeah, I saw one in our garden centre and it was like 30 quid. Again, too expensive for me. But like, not for like a plant that I liked, but you know what I mean. Isn't it interesting how quickly prices come down? I suppose like with an epipremnum, they grow like weeds, and even being completely neglected by me, they're still like a full and happy plant. But look at the roots on this thing. Now she needs a repot. But they are, oh, is that a bit of rot? No, I think it's just, is it? No, it's not. Oh, it smells so good. It smells like, if you wanted to describe, no, I can't describe it. It smells like, oh my God, I don't know what it smells like, but it smells really nice. Like earth. God, aren't those pretty? These are like water roots, aren't they? I say it like I've not. The reason it's grown like this is that I've been bottom watering. I just put a bit of water in this pot and then put it back in, and then the roots just grow out of the bottom. So this, you may think this is root bound, but it's not. Like, this is not bound. This is just, it's got squashed roots, because it's actually not, because so these IKEA pots have like a little shelf in the, like a third of the way down, making them perfect for leca. And it just sits on there, so these just sit in the water. So basically it's not an issue as it is now, but when I come to repot it and put those water roots in soil, what I would probably do would be put a layer of leca, so the water roots will be in leca, and then over time hope they adapt as the soil like falls into them, and it kind of mixes up, as it will, like every time you water it a bit more soil will fall down. But that you would have to keep an eye on when you potted it and put them in a different medium. Or you could wash the whole lot off and put it in leca. I don't know if anybody else lets the roots get that long, but I am really not that fussed about it. Good Lord, love, how are you doing this? It has so many growth points on it. I don't deserve you. You're pretty. I can't get this on camera, but look how pretty the backs of begonia leaves are. Nah, it's prettier than that. Long-time viewers will know the struggle I've had with my maiden hair Fern. So she got aphids and I had to cut all the fronds off. Then I nurtured her, which is not something that comes naturally to me. And she grew beautiful again. And then she just crisped up. I was like half a second late with watering and she just crisped up. And we are starting to get new growth back. Yay! But you will notice there's aphids. Now, aphids are a pain in the ass. I hate them. They are really... Now, I'm a vegan. I don't like doing this, but I have to protect my dependents. You know, if I got attacked by a cow, I'd fight it off. I just wouldn't attack it unprovoked or to eat it, just if it attacked me. So currently, my method is I just pick them up when I see them. It's not great because there will be like larvae in there and it is not, like, because they're so small at the moment, it's actually quite easy to see them. But as it gets bigger and more frondy, they're more difficult to see in its pain. However, I have a little enclave of ladybirds that live on one of my raised beds. So when the weather gets a bit warmer, I'll just put it out there and they can eat it and then I'll bring it back in and we'll be fine. Touch wood. But currently it's too cold. It might be okay, but we're not risking it. And I would like just put it out now because it's not warm, but it's quite sunny and bright and I can put it in a protected area and it wouldn't freeze or anything. It's not that cold. But I would probably forget to bring it back in again. So it's just not worth it. Like I say, it's all about knowing yourself. Right, that's it for this week. I will be back next week. I think next Sunday I'm going to do like check for pests. I'd do a list. I'd like do one about all of my plants that have pests, but that's probably quite embarrassing. I should really be less fair about it, but anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you next week. Bye.